Good day, class, and today we will discuss how to write the introduction. So what is the aim of the introduction? First, the introduction should catch the attention of the readers and get them turned on about the subject. This means that we need to gain their interest. So just like the movies, the first 3 minutes of the movie should be interesting. Otherwise, the audience will not continue watching the movie. So if we put it in the research or thesis, the first 3 paragraphs should catch the attention of the readers. Otherwise, they will not get interested and will not continue reading your paper. And for the panel, if they think that your topic is not interesting, they might not approve your proposal. So the introduction should get the attention, interest of the reader. Also, the introduction sets the stage of the paper and puts your topic in perspective. So just like the movie, or how you introduce yourself, you will give a quick background about yourself, where you came from, okay, and about your family, about your career, and your reason why you apply for a job, just like that. So here in the introduction, you will need to give a brief description, origin, the nature of the topic, to give the reader a perspective on what area you are studying. Next, when writing the introduction, put yourself in the reader's position. Would you continue reading this paper? Okay? So it's a matter of convincing. So ang kanang introduction, mura ni siya pagkuan pa sa na courting stage, murag panguyab pa ni siya ba? Okay, you need to motivate the reader so that they can you will obtain their interest and they will continue reading your paper. That would mean the paper is of relevance. Thus, the section should contain the following. The research ordinarily begins with an introduction. So, what are the parts of the introduction? The introduction will include a brief review or statement of the origin, nature, and literature of the problem. This will talk about the background information of the study. Okay, asa ni siya gikan? So that means before you perform or do research, you should already do preliminary literature review. Mamukay sa gita. Then provide the origin, the nature, and literature of the problem. Next, after the background information or the background of the study, you will need to provide the rationale. So, what do we mean by rationale? This will include the reasons, the justifications, why you intend to choose and select particular topic or problem. Sa kadaghang problema sa eskwelahan, nganong kana mang problemaha imuhang gustong sulbaron. Third, this will include the statement of purpose, scope, hypothesis, and the general method investigation. So this will state, here you will have the statement of the problem, so in declarative form. So tagaan na nimong idea ang reader kung unsa imuhang tumong sa imuhang research. Fourth, this will include the circumstances and significances which necessitates the research. So, kung tagaan na nimo siya background of the study, the reason, mga justification, the rationale, your point of doing the research, now you will tell the reader why is it important. Okay, you will convince the reader that your topic or your research investigation is significant. You also need to provide the scope and the limitation of the study. So, naagid tayo mga limitations and scopes sa itong study. Sa asara ni nga school, kinsa nga mga estudyante. So, aside from stating the respondents, specific respondents like high school, elementary, college, and sa nga grade level, you also need to specify unsang school year. Okay? So, the respondents should be large enough to be considered significant and narrow enough to receive careful treatment. And lastly, muna siya ang kasagaran dili mabutang sa introduction. The concluding paragraph. So naman tay every section of the research paper should have introductory paragraph and concluding paragraph. So unsa may nasa concluding paragraph? This will include the statement summarizing the main topics or subpoints, and you will also state in the concluding paragraph like ngani nga pamagi nawanatag ka ng the above mentioned reasons triggers the researcher to conduct a study about blah 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 blah. Okay? So ang concluding paragraph muni siya mo ingon niya tungod aning mga rason na mag-study ko about blah blah blah. So when I check your rationale or the introduction, these are the 6 main components na akong i-check. The first one, if you're able to provide the background of the study, the origin, the nature, or a brief literature of the problem. What are your reasons, your justification that push you to perform such research investigation? What is your main purpose of doing the research, or what are the problem you want to solve? Why is it significant? What are the scopes and limits of your study? And if you're able to provide your concluding paragraph. Okay? So, in this part of the research paper, the introduction or the rationale of the study will need to contain the background of the study, the rationale, the statement of the problem, the significance, the scope and limitation, and the concluding paragraph. So, ayaw kayo ni siya it can run up to 3 to 5 pages. 5 taas na kay na siya. But it should contain this. Okay? Kani sila. Make it brief. Kay introduction pa man siya. Ang full paper, kuan pa man siya. Kanang dili pa man siya full yun. Introduce kita. It should be brief. Unsa ganing brief? Kuan. It covers the most important parts. So, sa may mga important parts, muna siyang mga important parts, the background of the study, the rationale or the reasons, the justifications, the purpose, the significance, the limitations, and the concluding paragraph. So, let me share to you some questions that will guide you in constructing the introduction, the rationale part. So, you can answer these questions like, what am I studying? What is the subject matter? What is known about this topic before I do this research investigation? So that means you will need to identify what knowledge has been established and what are the gaps. So here, what were the gaps? What are my objectives? The purpose? Why do I study it? How significant is the problem? What are my hypotheses or assumptions? What do I hope to happen? So these are just some of the questions that will guide you in constructing your rationale. I hope this helps. So here are the general rules in writing the rationale. First, use the active voice as much as possible. So, example of active voice, this study uses descriptive research method. Okay? So, ingan ang format sa to ang sa itong statement. Mag-una ang subject, dayon ang predicate. Do not use the passive voice. For example, Descriptive research method was used in this study. So ayaw, dapat mag-active voice ta mo na tag this study used or will use descriptive research method. Also, kung proposal pagani siya, you should use present or future tense. Ayaw ang past tense. Kaya kung mag-past tense ta, pasabot na conducted na or finished na or nahuman na ang imong research. Hindi man ta pwede magbalik-balik o conduct o same nga research. Second, avoid lengthy or unconfused reviews of previous research. So, as much as possible, only kanang capture the most important idea or concept. Also, unfocused reviews kanang you need to eliminate mga irrelevant topics na. So, imuha na ng kanang sapsapan or kuwaan ang mga topic nga dili na part sa imuhang study. Cite primary scientific literature and limit your introduction to about 3 to 5 pages only. In publication, it's 3 to 5 paragraphs. So in thesis, it might be 3 to 5 pages. 1 to 2 is too short. I think i-double space pa ba yan na. Okay? So these are the 4 general rules in writing your rationale. So what is, we mentioned here primary scientific literature. So what are primary scientific literatures? These are literatures from journal articles. Original research articles published in journals. Okay? So mas maayo gyud nga mo refer ta dito sa published articles. Yung ano man, iagi naman siya externity, review, and evaluation from the experts. You can also include, primary literature also includes scholarly review articles. Okay. So from publications, from journals. It is strongly suggested not to cite general references. Sa may mga general references, example, mga encyclopedias, textbooks, lab manuals, style manuals, etc. Because this provides general knowledge or content information within the discipline. So, ayaw na siya nga nasa mga Wikipedia or sa encyclopedia. Okay, anita sa mga research journals and publications. Okay, so since you already know the aims of the introduction, the components of the introduction, as well as the general rules of the introduction, next we will discuss the structure of the introduction. So the structure should look like an inverted triangle like this. So your topic should come from general to specific. So more general aspects of the topic, for example, math. In math, kay dako pa man na siya subtopics. So imuhang siyang specify, magpa-specific siya. So for example, in English, English subject, nanhiba karon sa reading, sa writing, sa pamana, speaking, listening. So imo na pong i-specify siya ang imuhang ang format sa imuhang introduction. You may also include problems relating to mga international concerns, dayon national concern, dayon regional or local concern. Okay? So, ingana ang pag-arrange sa structure sa introduction or ang pag-arrange sa problem. After presenting the background of the study, the rationale, the justifications, the significance of conducting the research, here you will present the theoretical background. So here, you need to make sure you have read a lot of research concerning or pertaining or relating to your topic. So from that review, you need to formulate a tentative theoretical scheme for the research study. Okay, your foundation of your study. So foundations could or the support can be taken from different theories or legal basis. Then the theoretical framework includes the relevant, ang kaning background, these are the discussions. Ang framework mo ang iyahang schema or ang diagram. So the framework includes the relevant theories, legal basis, and key variables showing their interrelationships using the mga arrows. This is usually represented in the diagram. Okay, so you can have basically ang sa CTU nga format, in the left part, upper part of the framework are the theories. For example, Jerome Bruner's theory or the constructivist theory, okay, behaviorist theory, sa pana nga theory nga muhatag og support sa imuhang study. You can also mention the legal basis. Legal basis can give a good support in the conduct of your study. For example, mga Republic Acts, mga DepEd orders, resolutions, memorandums, pwede ni sila mo supplement and mo support sa pagkandak sa imuhang study, basis sa pagkandak sa imuhang study. So that means because of the theories and the legal basis, you intend to study about, for example, mga interventions, mga teaching strategies, mga educational technologies, mga different types of assessments, or unsay mo ang topic nga imuhang the heart of your research study. So the heart of, or the very heart of your research study is supported by these theories and legal basis. So mo ni siya imong heart. If napa kay maad nga mga other variables, pwede ra nimong ibutang. Then the last part can be the output of your study. For example, mga intervention programs, remedial classes programs, mga learning exercises, action plan, pwede na nato mahimong output of the study. So mo ni ang basic picture or structure sa theoretical framework of the study, and this will serve as figure number 1. So unsa may components sa atong theoretical framework of the study, you need to provide the theories, the legal basis. These two will support your study, and the heart of the study, ang imuhang center or topics or ang problem nga imuhang gustong studyhan, and lastly the output. So you need to think in advance unsay imuhang gusto nga output. Action plan ba, remedial program, learning exercises, instructional manual, okay? So mo ni siya ang ato ang theoretical framework. Then make sure you able to provide a discussion for each element. So nakay discussion sa taga theory, nakay discussion sa taga legal basis, sa imong problem, okay? So kana. Okay, so why do we need to present the figure 1 or the theoretical framework of the study? So this framework will serve as the conceptual map. This will guide the reader as well as the researcher on how to go about the study. So this framework will tell the researcher as well as the reader na unsay mga supporting theories and legal basis ani niya, unya unsay central idea or the main topic sa kanina research, unya unsay intended output sa kanina research. So importante ni ang kaninga picture, kaning diagram, kay mo man ni siya ato ang quick guide kung asa gikan, asa padung, o unsay output. Just like the profile pic, di ba? Kung makakita tag ana nga bisag picture lang atong makitaan, mahinumduman ta sa asa na siya gikan, unsay iyahang purpose, ug asa na siya padung. So same thing ani. So this will serve, this will guide the reader and the researcher. Then ma'am, kanang mura jud ni siya ang structure nga to ang i-follow. I'm showing and presenting to you the kanang pinaka-basic o pinaka-simple nga theoretical framework. And if you think nga naa pa mo'y ma-add nga important nga variable or concept or idea na needed yun sa imong study, then carry on. Pwede kaayo na. Okay? So, ang kani siyang gi-present na ko ninyo, pinaka-simple o basic lang siya. So, I just need you to, ang importante is relevant ang yung theories, mga legal basis, ug naa sila'y connection sa imuhang topic. It should be clear, simple, connected ang imuhang topic, labi na sa imuhang discussion. Kaya dili man enough ang framework na i-present na to. Ato man ning ipang-connect sila tanan. Okay? Sa discussion nga part. And the reason behind yan nung nag-una ni ang theoretical framework, kani manggong theoretical framework, this will help us in formulating the statement of the problem, which we will discuss in the next video. Show to you a sample thesis kung ano niyo siya na proposed, conducted, and hardbound na sa research. Okay, so this is a chapter 1, and make sure the page number is in the upper right. Also, I need you to have a separate file for preliminary pages, another file or document for chapter 1, another file or document for chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. Okay? Kaya nga naman, para ang page number dito maglisod. So, ang first page sa taga chapter should have a blind page. Yung sabi ng blind page, meaning naana siya, pero wala siya. Di na to siya makita. For example, in chapter 1, it should be 1 here, page 1, nani siya page 1 dire, pero wala na to gipakita. Then page 2, so makita na ang page 2, ang page 3, pero moto, the first page of every section or chapter, I mean kinahanglan blind page. Okay, so sample lang ni siya, rationale of the study. Okay, so for example, sample sa niya yung mga kuan ang iyahang concluding paragraph. Okay, then the theoretical background. So you have here example, this study is anchored on, so meaning mo ni ang supporting mga theories na supported sa niya nga study sa mga following legal basis. Dayon, you will also include mga discussions from other research studies. So, make sure, if nakasugod na kag-discuss diri, i-separate page nimo ang theoretical framework. Ang theoretical framework, kinahanglan full 1 page na siya. Way sagol nga mga discussion. Okay? So, putlo na nimo, naputol dira ang imuhang discussion, sumpaya na nimo, if naputol imong discussion sa page number 5, faluhan day na nato sa theoretical framework nya imuhang imuhang discussion i-continue nimo sa page 7. So, may clear? Meaning, kung nagsugod na ka sa page 5 o discuss, dapat, ang next page na, page 6, kay ang tibuok page sa page 6, kay ang theoretical framework na yun na. Then, i-continue ni mo yung discussion sa page 7. So, example lang niya. So, this study is anchored on two theories, namely the theory of structure and accident model. This section also discusses the legal basis. Okay, mentionin mo ang mga names sa theory, name or title sa legal basis, mga Republic Acts, mga Deped Orders, and mga memorandums. Yun, you may start discussing the theory. Okay, so akong i-check if na-discuss ba yun ninimo tagsa-tagsa ang theories o mga legal basis, and I also will check if di-connect ba ninimo sa imuhang main topic. So for example, dara yung theory. The theory of structure and accident, the ABC safety theory, okay, yung mga Republic Acts and memorandums or Deped Orders and memorandums. Then mo ni ang central sa iyahang central topic niya. Then iyahang niya nag-add pa jud siya important topic nga ganahan sa niyang explore. Then mo niyahang output, enhance safety management systems and risk management plan. Okay, so na-mention naman dito ang theory of structure and accident. Nag-mention na, i-discuss na sa niya ang ABC's safety theory. And kung unsa ang naa sa imuhang theoretical framework, kinahanglan na imong i-relate o i-discuss sa imuhang main topics. Kaya kung di nimo i-discuss, maka-question jud ta ang reader o ang panel nga imuha ng gi-appeal. So, i-discuss yun na nato tarong manong imuha, why is it relevant to your research? Tagsa-tagsa. Why each theory and each legal basis kay relevant sa imong research. Also, you need to mention and discuss these things. Kani po, mag-mention sa imuha sa ning i-discuss. Kani siyang output, pwede ra gamay ra imuhang i-discuss. And after discussing those elements, you will need to include mga relevant reviews and literature or relevant studies or research. In other schools, ang review of related literature is a separate chapter. But in CTU format, ang review of related literature comes after the discussion of the theoretical framework. So, kanipod siyang theoretical framework, dapat naasad ni, kung na-discuss na nimo ang taga-theory, taga-legal basis, nga naka-add na sad kag relevant studies and researches, you will need to end this section with a concluding paragraph. For example, the above mentioned theories, policies, studies strengthen and serve as the pillars of the study. These articles enlighten the researcher to conduct a study about blah 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 blah. Okay. And aims to intensify the safety measures to prevent the schools blah blah blah. So kinahanglan when you end a section of the research, dapat na ay concluding paragraph. Okay? So one of the criteria of a good researcher is his or her ability to formulate and pose the right problems or the right questions before arriving to the right answers and right solutions. So in the third section of chapter 1 is the problem. Here we will need to clearly pose or state the problem. So, ang kanang statement of the problem is composed of the general statement of the problem and the specific statements of the problem. So, in this research, moni ang iyahang general statement of the problem. So, for example, this research assessed, so kamo, kung proposal pa gani, kung proposal pa, make sure present or future tense ang mga gamiton. So, for example, kung proposal pa taana ni siya pagka-state, the research will assess kung proposal pa. Okay? But if conducted na, kung design hearing pa, will assess. Pero kung nakonduct na, mag-final oral defense na siya, yung pa-hardbound na ganina nato, assess na instead of will assess. Sa inyo ha, proposal pa man, so you will say, will study, will investigate, will assess, will evaluate, will identify, will determine na. So this research will assess the implementation of safety measures, your topic na dari. Your topic, then in your school, site unsa nga school, lugar sa school, during the school year. Okay. As basis, then ang last part, as basis in developing action plan, learning exercises, remedial classes program. Okay. So, this is the general statement of the general problem. Then these are the specific sub-problems. Okay. For example, imuhang respondents, school administrators, teachers, staff. Okay. Then this is the demographic profile. Ma'am, sa other schools, kinahanglan jud ba mag-profiling? Kanang profiling, needed na siya if wa pa'y nakandak na profiling ana nga school. Okay? And if nakandak na, labi nagbago pa siya nakandak, then no need na di na ka need mag-profiling. If wala pa'y nakandak na profiling, then include it in your sub-problems. Okay, so the sub-problem number 2 and sub-problem number 3. Then sub-problem number 4 is about your research output. So for example, what enhanced safety management system and risk management plan can be proposed, formulated, or generated. So ang kaning statement of the problem, specific statement of the problem, kay usually mga 4 to 5 interrogative sentences. Okay? So these are important. The statement of the problem is important because this will serve as the direction or guide on what answers or data na imuhang i-collect. So take note that this main or general problem should be stated in declarative form, containing the main topic, the location, and the duration. However, the specific sub-problems should be stated in interrogative form. Ano mga question? Okay? So, kung natay STEM dari, ang iyahang mga subcomponents, semicolon, 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 and second to the last statement, semicolon dayon, and then ang last kay question mark. So, please observe the format. Kani siya kung nakay subtopic, semicolon, 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 and sa second to the last, semicolon, butang na itong and, dayan question mark. Same thing dire, semicolon, semicolon, and, kay second to the last naman siya, then question mark. So, the problem should be stated precisely, accurately, simply, and clearly. Okay? So, kung unsay mga kuan na to dire, unsay mga terms nga dili klaro sa mga readers, ato na siyang i-define sa definition of terms. So, ang importance ani niya kay it will guide the researcher on what type or what data or information nga iyang i-gather. So, needed sad niyang statement of the problem kay basis ni siya sa pag-construct na to sa tuang mga survey questionnaires or survey instruments or questionnaires. After the statement of the problem is the section called significance of the study. So this part of the research is usually required for research proposals. Why? Because it is where we can provide justifications on the significance and importance of the study. So, this will provide the reader why is it important to them kung sa ilang makuha sa kaninga study. Yan ang importante ang result sa kaninga study. So, just like any other section sa research, kinahanglan na atay introductory paragraph. So, for example, the result of this study hopes to make contributions and advantages of the following. So, you need to explain and discuss why are the results or why is the study important to school administrators, teachers, parents, learners, other stakeholders, and future researchers. So, mo ni kanila i-follow nga sequence, school administrators down to future researchers. And make sure nga, kung sa imong topic, mo imuhang justify. So, for example, as school leaders, this study will serve as their basis on safety management, on developing a safety management plan to strengthen and ensure the safety in their manpower and properties. For teachers, they will be able to identify, prevent, and respond to possible risks and hazards that some of their students will encounter. So, kamo na lay explain, discuss, and hatag ug unod nganong importante ni imong study sa kani nga mga tao. So, research design is important because it serves as your way of doing research. Okay, so the common research design you can use in social research is quantitative research using survey method. Okay, so you can also use interview both in face-to-face or online. So the next part of the research proposal is the flow of the study. Okay, so in the flow of the study, its purpose is to present to the reader on how the researcher go about the study. That means what is the starting point and the end point of research. So in the CTU research proposal format, we will follow the IPO model. So the flow of the study follow the IPO model composed of the three major parts, which were the input, process, and the output. So example, this one. This is the figure for the flow of the study. you have a box for the input, box for the process, and a box for the output. So you need to describe the flow of the study from the beginning to the ending, from input going through the process up to the output. So what is in the first box? So in the first box, we'll show the variable or the data to be collected. For example, you will need to indicate the variable and the data to be collected, like profile of the respondents, the performance, the attitude, the perception, depending on what is stated on the statement of the problem. So kung unsay naa sa statement of the problem, may atong isuwat diri sa input na part. So the second box will include the processes involved in the study. Okay? So gi-describe lang na nato siya dira, then ato nang isuwat diri sa tuang box. Okay, so we'll start with the distribution of transmittal letters, approval letters, then if we able to get their consent and approval of the administrators, parents, okay, teachers, and the pupils or students. That's the time you will conduct the survey, whether online, face-to-face, Google form, or tojong papel. Then you will conduct the data, organize the data, tabulate the data, make tables, graphs, pie chart. You will need to understand the data and give your interpretation of the results. After the process, the last box will be about the output. So, unsa maning nasa output? Ang nasa output should be reflected on the last part of the theoretical framework and the last question on the statement of the problem. For example, enhanced safety management or action plan and intervention plan. Okay? After the flow of the study, you will need to state the research environment. So, you will need to state where do you intend to conduct your study, and you will need to state the address of the research environment, and you need to justify or reason out why you choose that school. Okay, what are their offerings? Okay, what are the features, highlights, and what interests you to study a particular topic in that school or environment. Is that please use present or future tense in the research methodology, for the reason that this study is intended to be conducted in the future pa. Proposal pa man siya, so we will use present or future tense. But if mana nakag-collect or gather sa data kanang final oral defense, ang kaning siyang naa sa research methodology, mahimo na ni siyang past tense, just like this one, na past tense na siya. Nagwas na ta diri tungod kay kanina akong gi-present nga example, it was already conducted. But since kamo maghimo pa man tag proposal, you will use present and future tense. So another thing in research methodology and other parts of the proposal, aside from using the present and future tense, we will be using the active voice instead of passive voice. So what is an example of active voice? Example, Jen discussed about research methodology. So, muna siya ang example of active voice. Unsa may example sa passive voice? The research methodology was discussed by Jen. So, i-avoid na nato ang passive voice and we will use the active voice. Another example of active voice. Anna painted the house. Sa passive voice, muna siya may tabo. The house was painted by Anna. So, i-avoid na nato ang passive. So, another example in research, may ngantag, the research environment of this study is CTU Barili Campus. So, kana nga itong gamiton ang active voice. Dili na itong gamitan ang passive. Unsa may example ang passive? CTU Barili is the research environment of this study. Okay? So, are we good? Let's move. After describing the research environment, or in other words, the research environment talks about where do you intend to investigate or conduct your research or solve a particular problem, or where do you intend to answer the research questions. To have a pictorial idea, to give a pictorial idea to the readers, we will need to provide a map. Okay? Then one i-hand title, Figure 3 Location Map of the Research Environment. For example, Consolatrix College of Toledo City. So, I will provide a soft copy aning research map. Then, butangan na nato og, so, ang kani siyang research study is conducted in Toledo. So, ang kani siyang Toledo, ito ang i-highlight. Okay, zoom. It's up. Okay. Oops. So, dayon, mag-provide tag arrow. Dapat na, from that point, Toledo na ay arrow. Then, you will have also include the facade or ang ganing picture sa imong school. Kanang maklaro unta ang pangalan sa school. Okay? Date baron nga na complete. Kuan, name sa school. Okay? So, kani siyang location map. This should come after the page sa research environment. So, ang ganitong research environment, occupy ni siya part or portion sa usa ka page. Pero, ang kaning ko, ang local or location map, occupy yun siya one page. Ang kaning figure 3. Okay? So, I will provide you the soft copy ani dayon i-edit na lang ninyo. After the research environment is the research respondents. So, respondents are those individuals who will answer or complete the survey or the interview, whether online, face-to-face, or through the questionnaire. Here, you will need to make sure that you're able to provide transmit a letter or letter of consent. Okay? And you will need to make sure that the data that will be collected will be treated with utmost confidentiality. Okay? So, you will describe your research respondents. Okay? It could be the school administrators, teachers, parents, students, or pupils, or staff of a particular school. Okay? So you will also state that they will be the one who will complete or provide data. Also, you will need to state the sampling technique you use either random sampling, simple random samplings, stratified random sampling, cluster sampling, snowball sampling. You also need to discuss how you obtain the sample size using the Sloven's formula. Okay. In this study, the respondents are from Consolatrix College of Toledo, and the sampling technique used is the purposive sampling, or we call this as the convenience sampling. I will share a link to you on the different sampling techniques. Okay? Then, there is na to indicate how do you obtain the sample size. You will state here that you use the Sloven's formula. Then in the research respondents, muni ang una nimo table. Okay, so for example, respondents, number of respondents present. So for example, there are 5 school administrators, 10 teachers, 10 staff, 10 parents, 10 sa elementary, 10 sa junior high, representative na. Okay. Then, ang total na niya, 75%. From school administrators down to college students, kung i-add na nimo, that is 75. Yeah, how to get the percent? Okay, that you can get the percent when you have 5 divided, when you divide 7, you divide 5 with 75. So that means 5 divided by 75 times 100. So you will get 7%. Next, 10 divided by 75 times 100, you get 13. And so on. Ma'am, ganing 54, ma'am. Asa man ikuha? That is just, kani pila man ni? 40 divided 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. Kani siya nga student na portion 40 divided by 75, that is times 100, that is 54%. You also need to justify nganong sila imong gipili nga respondents. Nganong grade 4, nganong grade 5, nganong grade 6, okay? Nganong high school, nganong college. Nganong what makes them qualified sa imuhang study. Okay, so kani manggong research methodology mo ni siya pinakataas kayo nga area or pinakadaw kayo nga area nga debate unon in design hearing. So, in this part, in the research methodology, kinahanglan yun, imuhang i-justified, imuha dyong dipensaan, nganong dira ka nga nagkandak, nganong sila imuhang respondents. Okay. Okay, so that would be all for the research respondents. The next part after the research respondents is the research instruments. So, these are the tools for data collection. Okay, it could include questionnaire, observation, checklist, interview questionnaire. So, you can adapt and modify a certain survey questionnaire, then pilot test it so that you can achieve the validity and reliability. And you need to make sure that your survey instrument is anchored on your statement of the problem. So the research instrument should be tailored on the sequence of the statement of the problem. So for example, imuhang first question is about the profile of the respondents. Okay, so muna imong i-first na describe. So for example, profile of the respondents. So this part is about the profile of the respondents that includes their age, gender, highest educational attainment, length of years, involvement in that school. Okay, So, kung unsay na dito sa imuhang statement of the problem, kinahanglan naapod sa imuhang survey instrument. Since nangita man ka sa profile of some of respondents, dapat na siya sa imuhang survey instrument. So, after profiling, you can start with part 1. This talks about the perception of the respondents, their attitude towards modular approach, perception on modular approach. For example, kanang mahingana. So one of the characteristics of good research instrument is the instrument should be valid. So when can you say that the instrument is valid? When it able to capture or cover all the required data na dapat i-collect based on the statement of the problem. When can you say that the research instrument is reliable? That means if imuha na ng pilot test, for example, mga test questionnaire, okay, nga nang magandang kag kuan ba mag-assess ka sa performance niya, maghimo kag kuan imuhang self-made test questionnaire, okay, multiple choice baron about problem solving. So before na nimo ikanda jud sa imong mga respondents, kinahanglan imuha nang i-pilot testing. So again, it should be based on the statement of the problem and it should be based on the conceptual framework. It must gather data suitable for the research topic. It should be suitable to the research topic. It should be free from all kinds of biases. Okay? It must contain clear and definite directions to complete it. So, sa manimuhang ipagwat yung circulan ba or mag-fill in ba 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you need to have a scale on sa maning 1, poor, sa maning 2, needs improvement, 3, fair, 4, satisfactory, 5, excellent. So, for example, kung ipa-state yun mo ang kanang scale sa imong pag-answer. And it must be accompanied by a good cover letter or kanang transmittal letter or consent. Okay, so mga yun consent. Labi na kita mo hatag ditso og instrument sa to ang mga respondents. Dapat with their consent, mag-agree sila nga mo partake sa imuhang research. Okay, so I will show you an example of a transmittal letter. Okay. So pwede rin niya siya maghatag kag letter sa imuhang sa principal or sa administrator, dayon kani sa parents, pwede ra wala sa akong pangan. Dayon ang parent or guardian's consent, labi na nga mag-feel ta og mga minors. So this is now the instrument sa kaning research na akong i-example. So ihaning gibuak ang instrument. Ang first part or night part nga about profile of the respondents. Here pwede ra ta mag-check. You need to provide instructions on how to fill out the form. Kani dapat ang kani instruction ani nas babaw, please check the appropriate response to the following questions. Dari unta ni siya babaw sa kaning role. Okay, then you can have this, i-range lang nato ang age, then gender, check lang para mas madali. Ang point ani niya is dali mahuman dayon sa part sa mga respondents nya imuha na lang yung ipon. So sa highest educational attainment, sa katong na highest educational attainment, pag-start lang sa highest kuan dayon doctorate to college level or high school level. Okay. Moto siya mo ni ang section sa instrument nga nag-ask of data regarding sa profile sa respondents. Next part of the instrument is the kaniya kingilahi niya ang profile sa administrators, teachers, staff, parents. Gilahi sa niya ang profile para sa estudyante. Next is kanang muna ni siya ang survey instrument that will collect data nga makapasatisfy sa atuang statement of the problem. You will need to have the introductory paragraph. Then you will need to also indicate the instruction. So, i-define ni nato, for example, implemented, partially implemented, not implemented. Mo nang i-define. So, ang itong instrument could be, diri ang part ang statements, niya, diri ang mga responses. Then, check-checkan lang ni sa mga respondents. So, as I will check your research instrument, ako po nang tanawin if naka-anchor ba na, if naka-answer ba na sa imuhang statement of the problem. Okay, so for example, atong tanawin niyang statement of the problem ha. Dara. So for the statement of the problem, what is the profile of the school administrator? So mo to siya ang first part sa iyahang instrument profile. Sunod, assessment of the respondents in the implementation. Okay? So in terms of safety measures, ato po ng tanaw. So, murag magtaas po ning time atong kuanan na atong ihatag aning pag-construct sa research. You just need to make sure na naa kay instrument sa taga question nga imuhang gi-form. Okay? So after describing your research instrument, it is time for you to describe how do you plan to gather your data. Okay, and you will need to describe the data gathering procedure. Could it be through questionnaire, through interview, online, face-to-face, emails, text, call, observation, experiment, case study. Okay, so you need to identify commonly in social research ang kasagaran gamitan is kaning survey. So you will need to describe here to whom you will gather the data, how it will be done, how will you collect the data. The next part is the statistical treatment or statistical analysis. Unsa nga statistics imong gamiton to analyze the data gathered. So after collecting the data, you need to analyze the data. So how do you analyze the data? You can use average, weighted mean, percentage, chi-square, ANOVA. So diri na to masud ang inyuhang nakatunan sa subject na statistics. And the last part of the research methodology is the scoring procedure. Okay, so how diri to ibutang ang atong mga rating scale that will describe the responses. So for example, naitagaan na to weight. Okay, tong gi-show ganiha tong sa tong instrument implemented, partially implemented, not implemented. So natay rating scale ana niya, natay weight, natay range, natay level of implementation ug napud tay qualitative descriptions. Okay, so I think that would be all for the research methodology. And the last part pa yung demo din yan, last part sa research methodology, the definition of terms. So the definition of terms, this is the section wherein you will define operationally the terms used in this research. So for example, the term bar. Okay? So, when we say bar, daghan ang pasabutan ng bar. It could be bar nga bar club, bar nga kuan ganang metal or chocolate bars, okay, or bar nga rectangular bars. So, you will need to, that's why ang money ang portion nga i-define nimo ang kanang specific terms nga gamit kayo sa imong research. Okay, so for example, safety, risk reduction management, or mga keywords. Muna siya gamit sa kaninga part, mga keywords. Okay, so or the terms that is usually annexed to your research paper. Okay, or more likely sa imong research title. So, sa research proposal, or when you have your pre-oral defense or design hearing, after sa definition of terms, kay ang bibliography. So, natay separate page na niya nga aning bibliography. Usag yun na siya ka-page. Okay? Usag yun na siya ka-page nga ang word na dyan nga bibliography. After ana, kani. Okay, so we have there, I think this is references. References. So dapat ang ato ang mga sources kaya ato nang i-properly cite and include sa ato ang bibliography. Niya ang pag-arrange na niya by author, maguna ang family name, middle initial, pwede, or full name, date of publication, title of research. Sa kani, family name, kung duha sila kabuok, family name sa first nga author, family name sa second nga author, date of publication, title sa research, anya page or asa siya ma-retrieve. Kani siya HTTPS mo ni siya ang website kung asa ni mabasa or ma-retrieve. Nya ang arrangement ani niya kay dapat alphabetical. So kani AC, AF, AV followed by mga B. Okay? Also, ang format sa kaning bibliography, single space na ni siya. Mura ni part sa kuan mo, puni ang part sa research na single space, pero single space kani siya single space ni siya, okay, pero every after citation na siya one space. So first nga kuan paper research, then one space, another paper one space, another paper one space. Dayon also indented, i-indent ni nato. Indent ni na itong mga 1 inch. Okay, daring iyahang ilaw or iyahang next nga line. Also, in the research proposal, in the bibliography na apoy online resources. In the research proposal, you will need to include the appendices. So, naatay usa ko page ragyod ana niya nga na word nga appendices. Muna ni, ipang pictura na to ang transmittal letter nga naay pirma. Okay, pwede ra ko walay noted by. Pwede ra ka ng respectfully ang researcher, dayon ang mo approve. Then mga letter to respondents. So again, natay kuan transmittal letter, mga letter of consents, mga letter to respondents, parent or guardian's consent. Dayon ang katong survey instrument. So the last part of the research proposal and the research is the curriculum vitae. So this will provide the information to the reader and the panel about the researcher and the profile, the trainings, work experience, and expertise. So you will include the picture, the name, first name, for example, my family name, Tommy, address, email address, and contact number, date of birth. So for example, August 14, 1956. Place of birth, kuan, Cebu City. Okay, so for example, male, age 762, for example, or 61 ba? 62 di ay. Then and so on. Okay, civil status, religion, citizenship, mother's name, father's name, occupation. Occupation of the mother, here, spouse name, occupation of the spouse, just write none if wala. Then just please follow the format: graduate studies, college, okay. And then format sa training workshops, training, workshops, and seminars attended. So the title of the training, date, then sponsoring agency, work experience, company, position, then date. Okay, so I think that would be all for the research proposal, and I hope you can submit the preliminary pages, the entire chapter 1, which contains the introduction, the theoretical framework, statement of the problem, significance of the study, research methodology, definition of terms, bibliography, appendices, and the curriculum vitae. And if you have further questions, please feel free to ask me, to message me privately or to our group chat. Okay, thank you so much and have a good day.